Midnight hits. The room is dark, your body is tired, but your brain is wide awake. The clock shows 2:17 a.m., then 3:08 a.m., then 4:11 a.m. You turn on your side, you flip the pillow, you close your eyes harder. Your heart feels alert. Your thoughts start moving faster. Small worries feel bigger at night. And just when you start drifting off, you feel it. That pressure. You get up, walk to the bathroom. Again, this cycle repeats for months, sometimes years, and most people think this is normal. It is not normal. It is a stress signal. And tonight, we are going to talk about one simple mineral, just 400 milligrams, a small number, but inside your body, it can change everything. It can lower your stress hormone. It can calm your nervous system. And for many people, it helps them sleep 8 hours straight without getting up to pee. No sleeping pill, no heavy sedation, no morning brain fog, and no melatonin dependency. This is not about forcing sleep. This is about fixing what stress quietly broke. Cortisol is your main stress hormone. It keeps you alert. It keeps you alive. In the morning, it should rise. At night, it should fall. That is the natural rhythm, but modern life bends this rhythm out of shape. Late night screens, mental pressure, financial stress, emotional overload, caffeine that stays in the system longer than expected. All of this pushes cortisol up at the exact time it should be dropping. When cortisol stays high at night, sleep becomes light. The brain never fully relaxes. You drift in and out. You wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. for no clear reason. You feel slightly alert, even though you are exhausted. And here is a lesser-known fact. Elevated night cortisol can increase nighttime urination. It can change fluid balance. It can make the bladder more sensitive. So the issue is not just your bladder, it is your stress chemistry. Very few people connect these dots. They blame aging. They blame water intake. They blame weak sleep. But they rarely look at the hormone that controls the whole pattern. Now, here is where things get interesting. More than half of adults do not get enough magnesium from food. Not because they are careless, but because soil quality has changed. Processed food dominates modern diets. Chronic stress burns through magnesium faster. Every time your body produces stress hormones, magnesium is used. Every time your muscles tighten from anxiety, magnesium is involved. Every time your brain fires rapidly under pressure, magnesium is required to calm it back down. This mineral is part of over 300 reactions in your body. It helps regulate nerve signals. It supports a calming brain chemical called GABA. It relaxes smooth muscle tissue. It helps stabilize blood sugar during the night. And it quietly tells your nervous system that it is safe to power down. When magnesium levels are low, the nervous system stays slightly on edge, not panic mode, just alert enough to interrupt deep sleep. In this video, you will learn what 400 milligrams of magnesium actually does inside your body at night. You will understand how it lowers cortisol naturally. You will learn why it helps prevent those 3 a.m. wake-ups. You will discover the connection between stress hormones and nighttime urination. You will also learn why some forms of magnesium work better than others, and why timing matters more than most people realize. We will break down the science in simple words. No confusing medical language, just clear explanations. By the end, you will understand whether this simple mineral could be the missing piece in your sleep routine. There is also a deeper layer most people never hear about. Cortisol does not just wake you up, it affects blood sugar. When blood sugar drops too low at night, your body releases more cortisol to raise it. That spike can wake you instantly. You feel alert for no reason. Magnesium plays a role in insulin sensitivity and glucose control. When blood sugar stays stable, the brain stays calm. Fewer emergency signals, fewer stress spikes, fewer sudden awakenings. This is why some people notice that after consistent magnesium use, they stop waking at the same time every night. Their stress rhythm resets. Their body no longer triggers false alarms. And then there is muscle tension. Many people carry stress in their jaw, neck, shoulders, and even pelvic muscles. Tight muscles send signals of tension to the brain. The brain responds by staying alert. Magnesium helps relax muscle fibers at a cellular level. It blocks certain receptors that promote excitation. It supports those that promote calm. This is not sedation. It is regulation. The difference is powerful. Sedation forces the brain down. Regulation allows the brain to switch off naturally. Another overlooked detail is deep sleep cycles. Your body moves through stages of sleep: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. When cortisol is elevated, deep sleep shortens. Deep sleep is where true restoration happens. Growth hormone is released, tissue repairs, the immune system resets. When magnesium helps lower night cortisol, deep sleep often improves. And when deep sleep improves, the bladder signal threshold increases. In simple words, your brain does not wake you up for minor signals. You stay asleep longer. That is why some people report sleeping 6 hours without interruption for the first time in years after correcting magnesium deficiency. This is not hype. It is physiology, and it is rarely explained in a simple way. Many sleep conversations focus only on melatonin, but melatonin controls sleep timing, not stress chemistry. If cortisol is high, melatonin alone will not fix the problem. You may fall asleep, but you will not stay asleep. That is why some people take higher and higher doses of melatonin and still wake up at 3 a.m. The root cause remains untouched. Magnesium works upstream. It addresses the stress response itself. By staying with this video until the end, you will also learn who benefits the most from 400 milligrams. Not everyone needs the same amount. You will learn the safest way to take it. You will understand possible side effects. You will learn why people with kidney issues must be cautious. And you will see why consistency matters more than one single night. This is about long-term nervous system balance, not quick fixes. The most powerful part of this discussion is understanding that your body already knows how to sleep. Sleep is not a skill you need to learn. It is a biological program. When stress hormones are balanced, when minerals are sufficient, when the nervous system feels safe, sleep happens on its own. 8 hours straight. No racing mind, no constant bathroom trips, no early morning dread, just steady, deep rest. A small dose, 400 milligrams, taken at the right time, in the right form, supporting systems that modern life constantly drains. That is what we are unpacking today. Not trends, not marketing claims, just the biology of stress, minerals, and sleep. Stay with me, because the details matter, the timing matters, the type matters. And once you understand how this works, you will never look at your nighttime wake-ups the same way again. Welcome to our channel, where we break down complex health science into simple, clear explanations you can actually use. If you value honest information backed by real physiology, subscribe now and join a community focused on smarter health choices. Let's begin. Cortisol is your main stress hormone. It is not evil. It is not bad. You need it to wake up in the morning. You need it to focus. You need it to respond to danger. But cortisol follows a rhythm. It rises in the early morning. It slowly drops during the day. And at night, it should be low, very low. That drop is the signal for your body to rest. When cortisol falls, your brain shifts from alert mode to recovery mode. Your muscles soften. Your heart rate slows. Your breathing becomes steady. Sleep begins naturally. The problem starts when cortisol does not drop. When it stays slightly elevated at night, even by a small amount, your brain stays on guard. You may feel tired. Your eyes may close, but your nervous system is not fully relaxed. You enter light sleep. You wake up easily. Small sounds feel louder. Small thoughts feel bigger. The body never fully powers down. When night cortisol stays high, sleep becomes fragile. You drift off, then wake up again. You check the time. It is 2:43 a.m. You try to sleep again. Then 3:27 a.m. You feel slightly anxious for no clear reason. Your mind starts reviewing tasks, conversations, problems. Early morning anxiety appears out of nowhere. Your chest may feel tight. Your thoughts move faster. This is not random. It is chemistry. Cortisol signals alertness. Even a mild spike can pull you out of deep sleep. And there is another effect people rarely connect. Cortisol influences fluid balance and kidney function. When it is elevated at night, it can increase urine production. It can also make your bladder more sensitive to small amounts of fluid. So you wake up feeling like you need to go. You walk to the bathroom. Your brain becomes more alert. And once you are awake, cortisol rises even more. The cycle repeats night after night. Modern life quietly pushes cortisol higher at the worst possible time. Screens glow late into the night. Blue light tells your brain it is still daytime. Work messages arrive after dinner. Social media keeps the mind active. The nervous system never gets a clear signal to slow down. Mental stress adds another layer. Financial pressure, relationship tension. Work deadlines. Even if you are lying in bed, your brain may still be solving problems. Each stressful thought sends small signals through your body, tiny bursts of stress chemistry over time. This becomes your new normal. Then there is caffeine. Many people drink coffee in the afternoon and assume it is gone by bedtime, but caffeine blocks adenosine, the chemical that builds sleep pressure. It also stimulates the release of cortisol and adrenaline. In some people, caffeine can stay active for 8 hours or more. That afternoon cup can still be influencing your stress hormones at midnight. Poor diet plays a role too. High sugar intake causes blood sugar spikes and crashes. When blood sugar drops too low at night, your body releases cortisol to raise it. That spike wakes you up suddenly. Processed foods low in key minerals make the stress response even harder to control. All these small habits combine. The result is a nervous system that never fully relaxes. This is where 400 milligrams of this mineral changes everything. Most people search for stronger sleep aids. They look for something that forces the brain to shut down. But the answer is often simpler. It is a mineral, not a drug, not a hormone. A mineral your body already uses every single day before naming it. Understand this. Your body depends on certain nutrients to control stress signals. When one of them is low, the stress system becomes unstable. Even if the deficiency is mild, the effects can show up at night first: light sleep, muscle tension, racing thoughts, subtle anxiety. That mineral is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 reactions in the human body. That number alone tells you how important it is. It helps produce energy inside your cells. It supports DNA repair. It regulates nerve transmission. It plays a central role in how your nervous system fires and how it calms down. It helps control calcium flow in and out of cells. Calcium triggers contraction and activation. Magnesium supports relaxation and balance. Think of them as partners. When magnesium is low, calcium can overstimulate cells. Nerves fire more easily. Muscles stay tighter. The brain becomes more reactive. Magnesium helps control the nervous system by acting as a natural brake. It supports receptors that quiet brain activity. It blocks certain receptors that promote excessive stimulation. It also helps muscles relax, including the smooth muscles of blood vessels and the bladder. When magnesium levels are adequate, your body shifts more easily into a calm state. Many people are mildly deficient without realizing it. Soil quality has changed over decades. Modern farming methods reduce mineral content in food. Processed food contains fewer natural nutrients. Chronic stress uses up magnesium faster. Each stress response burns through magnesium stores. Sweating during exercise, certain medications, and high sugar intake can also reduce levels. Blood tests often miss mild deficiency because most magnesium is stored inside cells, not in the bloodstream. So you can be low at the cellular level while blood levels appear normal. The symptoms are subtle at first: eye twitching, muscle tightness, headaches, irritability, poor sleep. These signs are often ignored, but they point to a nervous system that lacks proper regulation. Lowering cortisol is only part of the story. Magnesium works by influencing the nervous system at multiple levels. It supports a neurotransmitter called GABA. GABA is the brain's main calming chemical. When GABA activity is strong, brain cells fire less rapidly. Thoughts slow down. Anxiety decreases. Sleep becomes easier. Magnesium enhances the function of GABA receptors. It makes them more responsive. This does not sedate the brain. It allows natural calming pathways to work properly. At the same time, magnesium blocks NMDA receptors, which are involved in excitatory signaling. When these receptors are overactive, the brain becomes overstimulated. By modulating these pathways, magnesium reduces the intensity of the stress response. When the nervous system calms down, cortisol production begins to normalize. The adrenal glands respond to signals from the brain. If the brain perceives danger or stress, it sends messages that increase cortisol release. If the brain senses safety and stability, those signals decrease. Magnesium helps create that internal sense of safety at the cellular level. Heart rate settles. Blood vessels relax. Blood pressure may decrease slightly. Breathing becomes deeper and slower. The body shifts from sympathetic dominance, which is the fight or flight state, into parasympathetic mode, which is the rest and digest state. This shift is essential for deep sleep. As cortisol lowers at night, the brain can move through sleep stages more smoothly. The first stage is light sleep. Then deeper stages follow. Deep sleep is where the body repairs tissue and restores energy. When cortisol spikes interrupt this process, you bounce back into lighter sleep or wakefulness. By stabilizing the stress response, magnesium reduces these interruptions. Many people notice they fall asleep faster because the mind is not racing as much. The gap between lying down and drifting off becomes shorter. The body feels heavier. Muscles release tension. The jaw unclenches. The shoulders drop. That is why people fall asleep faster. But what about staying asleep? The early morning hours, especially between 3 and 4 a.m., are a critical window. In a healthy rhythm. Cortisol starts to rise slowly before sunrise. This rise prepares you to wake up naturally. But in people under chronic stress, this rise can begin too early or spike too sharply. Blood sugar also plays a role during this time. If blood glucose drops too low while you sleep, your body triggers a stress response to correct it. Cortisol and adrenaline are released to increase glucose levels. That sudden hormone surge can wake you up instantly. You may not feel hungry. You may not know what caused it. You just feel alert. Magnesium supports blood sugar stability by improving insulin sensitivity. When cells respond better to insulin, glucose remains more stable throughout the night. Fewer sharp drops, fewer emergency hormone releases. With fewer cortisol spikes, sleep remains deeper and more continuous. The nervous system stays in a calmer state. Instead of being pulled abruptly into wakefulness, the brain continues cycling through deep and REM sleep stages. These deeper cycles are restorative. They allow memory consolidation, emotional processing, and physical repair. When deep sleep improves, your threshold for waking increases. Small internal signals, like minor bladder pressure or slight changes in position, are less likely to wake you. Magnesium also reduces muscle tension in the bladder and pelvic region. Smooth muscle relaxation means the bladder may not signal urgency as quickly. Combined with lower cortisol and more stable blood sugar, this creates a powerful effect. You stay asleep longer. You wake up less frequently. When you do wake, it is closer to your natural morning rise in cortisol, not a stress-driven spike in the middle of the night. The interesting part is that many people focus only on falling asleep. They think sleep problems are about the first 10 minutes in bed, but the deeper issue is regulation across the entire night. Hormones must rise and fall at the right times. The nervous system must shift between states smoothly. Minerals like magnesium act as quiet regulators behind the scenes. They do not force the body, they support it. Over days and weeks of consistent intake, the stress response becomes less reactive. Nighttime cortisol patterns begin to normalize. Blood sugar swings decrease. Muscle tension softens. The brain feels less hyper-alert at night, and the pattern of waking at the same hour every night often fades. But here, esta is the interesting part. One of the most frustrating parts of broken sleep is not just waking up. It is waking up with pressure in your bladder. You open your eyes and feel that signal. It feels urgent. It feels real. So you get up, you walk to the bathroom, you barely turn on the light. You try to stay half asleep. But once you move, your brain switches on. And by the time you return to bed, you are more awake than before. What most people never realize is that high cortisol can directly increase nighttime urination. Cortisol influences fluid balance. It affects how your kidneys filter blood. When stress hormones are elevated, your body may produce more urine at night. At the same time, cortisol keeps your nervous system alert. That alertness makes you more sensitive to small internal signals. A bladder that is only partially full may suddenly feel urgent because your brain is already in a light sleep state. You are easier to wake. You are easier to trigger. The issue is not always how much water you drank. It is how sensitive your stress system is while you sleep. Poor sleep itself makes bladder sensitivity worse. When you are in deep sleep, your brain filters signals from your body. It ignores minor sensations. That is why children can sleep through noise or movement when deeply tired. Deep sleep raises the threshold for waking, but when sleep is shallow, the threshold drops. Small changes feel bigger. A mild bladder stretch that would normally wait until morning now wakes you at 3 a.m. And once you wake, cortisol rises further because waking itself is a stress signal. That extra cortisol may stimulate even more urine production. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Stress raises cortisol. Cortisol increases nighttime urination. Waking raises cortisol more. Night after night, the pattern strengthens. Magnesium changes this environment in a quiet but powerful way. One of its key roles is relaxing smooth muscle. The bladder wall is made of smooth muscle fibers. When these muscles are tense or overly reactive, they can send stronger signals to the brain. Magnesium helps regulate calcium flow inside muscle cells. Calcium triggers contraction. Magnesium supports relaxation. When magnesium levels are sufficient, smooth muscles are less likely to spasm or overreact. This does not mean you will never need to urinate at night. It means the bladder is less sensitive to minor filling. Combined with deeper sleep, the urge becomes less disruptive. Deeper sleep is critical here. When cortisol is lower and the nervous system is calm, you spend more time in slow-wave sleep. During this stage, the brain is less responsive to minor internal cues. It prioritizes restoration. That means fewer bathroom signals break through. You may still produce urine, but your brain does not interpret every small stretch as urgent. The signal waits until morning. A calmer nervous system also reduces false alarms. Stress can make the body hyper-aware. You may misinterpret small sensations as stronger than they are. When stress chemistry settles, perception changes. The same bladder volume feels less urgent because the brain is not on high alert. It is important to understand that magnesium is not a diuretic. It does not force you to urinate more. In fact, its role is the opposite. It supports balance. It helps regulate fluid distribution. It assists normal muscle function. It calms the nervous system so signals are processed appropriately. The goal is not to suppress normal body function. The goal is to restore proper rhythm. When cortisol drops at the right time, when muscles relax, when deep sleep improves, nighttime bathroom trips often decrease naturally, not because urine production stopped, but because stress stopped exaggerating the signals. So why 400 milligrams specifically? Dose matters. Too little magnesium may not produce noticeable changes. Many supplements contain small amounts that barely shift cellular levels. The body requires a certain threshold before the nervous system begins to respond. Research and clinical experience often point to a range between 300 and 400 milligrams per day for adults, depending on body size and diet. At lower doses, some people feel mild relaxation, but the cortisol pattern may not shift significantly. Around 400 milligrams is commonly studied and frequently used because it is high enough to replenish mild deficiencies and support nervous system balance without being excessive for most healthy adults. When magnesium intake is too low, it is like trying to fill a nearly empty reservoir with a small cup of water. You will not see change quickly, but when intake reaches an effective range, cells begin to function differently. Nerve signaling becomes steadier. Muscle tension decreases. Stress responses soften. The body requires consistency as well. One single dose may help slightly, but regular intake allows intracellular magnesium levels to rise gradually. Over days and weeks, the stress system recalibrates. Timing also matters. Taking magnesium 1 to 2 hours before bed aligns its calming effects with your natural circadian rhythm. During this window, cortisol should already be declining. Magnesium supports that decline. It helps the nervous system shift toward parasympathetic dominance. If taken too early in the day, the calming effect may be less noticeable at night. If taken right at bedtime, some people may not absorb it optimally before sleep begins. The 1 to 2 hour window allows digestion and absorption while you are winding down. There are also safety considerations. Magnesium is generally safe for healthy individuals when taken in appropriate doses, but people with kidney disease must be cautious because the kidneys regulate magnesium levels in the blood. Impaired kidney function can lead to accumulation. Anyone taking medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or other chronic conditions should consult a healthcare professional before starting supplementation. Balance is the goal. More is not always better. Excessive doses can cause digestive upset or loose stools, which is a sign that intake may be too high for your body. So who benefits most? People living under constant stress often notice the biggest change. When the nervous system is chronically activated, even small improvements in regulation feel dramatic. Those with light sleep patterns who wake easily from minor disturbances may experience deeper, more stable rest. Individuals who carry muscle tension in the neck, jaw, shoulders, or pelvic area often feel physical relaxation at night that was missing before. Night waking, especially at consistent hours like 3 a.m., can decrease as cortisol patterns stabilize. People over 30 may benefit more because magnesium intake tends to decline with age, while stress exposure increases. Caffeine consumers also stand out. Regular caffeine intake raises cortisol and stimulates the nervous system. Magnesium can help buffer that stimulation and restore balance in the evening. However, expectations must remain realistic. Magnesium is not a sedative. It does not knock you out. It does not override extreme stress or chaotic habits. It supports the body's natural ability to calm down. If you scroll on your phone until midnight, drink coffee late in the evening, eat heavy sugary meals at night, and go to bed at different times each day, magnesium will not magically erase those effects. It works best within a supportive environment. A dark room signals melatonin release. Avoiding late caffeine prevents unnecessary cortisol spikes. A consistent sleep schedule trains your circadian rhythm. When these basics are in place, Magnesium amplifies the results. It is also not an instant solution for severe insomnia caused by complex medical or psychological conditions. It is a foundational support. Think of it as strengthening the base of a structure. When the base is stable, everything above it functions more smoothly. Without that foundation, other interventions may produce limited results. When cortisol is corrected at night, a cascade of changes follows. The nervous system becomes less reactive. The bladder becomes less sensitive to minor signals. Blood sugar remains steadier. Deep sleep lengthens. The early morning rise in cortisol occurs closer to sunrise rather than in the middle of the night. You wake feeling more refreshed instead of anxious. The bathroom trip that once felt inevitable may no longer interrupt your sleep. You may sleep 6, 7, even 8 hours without waking, not because you forced it, but because the stress chemistry that was disrupting it has settled. Magnesium works quietly. It does not create dramatic sensations. It restores balance that modern life slowly eroded. When the body feels safe, it rests. When cortisol falls at the right time, sleep deepens. When muscles relax, signals soften. When blood sugar stabilizes, emergency alarms stop firing. Each of these shifts may seem small alone. Together, they transform the night. But don't expect this to happen in isolation. Expect it to work as part of a system. Expect gradual improvement rather than sudden transformation. Expect subtle signs first. Falling asleep a little faster. Waking up one less time. Feeling calmer when you do wake. Then longer stretches of uninterrupted sleep. Then mornings with clearer thinking. So what happens when you fix cortisol at night? Low cortisol at night changes everything. Your body stops fighting invisible stress. Your nervous system finally relaxes. Your heart rate slows. Your muscles soften. Your mind becomes quiet. Sleep cycles move the way they were designed to move. Light sleep flows into deep sleep. Deep sleep flows into REM. No sudden jolts. No 3 a.m. panic. No random bathroom trips pulling you out of rest. Just steady, stable sleep. 7 to 8 hours straight. The kind of sleep that makes you wake up clear, calm, and fully charged. When cortisol drops at the right time, your body remembers what real recovery feels like. You do not need to force sleep. You do not need to sedate your brain. You simply remove the stress signal that was keeping you awake. Balance replaces tension. Rhythm replaces chaos. And the night becomes quiet again. Sometimes the solution is to stronger drugs. It's fixing what your body is missing. If this helped you understand your sleep in a new way, subscribe to the channel right now. We break down real health science into simple explanations you can actually use, like this video, so more people can learn how to fix their sleep naturally. Share it with someone who keeps waking up at 3 a.m. and does not know why. Better sleep starts with better knowledge. And this is just the beginning.